Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? It is patch day once again. Patch 21 is with us, bringing with it several new community events and the return of Meat Week, along with the usual host of bug fixes, some of which are very, very good, and a few of which I'm not happy to see at all. There's a couple of things in here I'm really not pleased about, so we'll get to those in just a moment. But first up, let's jump in. Okay then, so Fallout 76, Patch 21, Patch Notes, August 4th, 2020. We are releasing Update 21 today, which includes the new Fortifying Atlas community challenges, the Meat Week seasonal event, and our new event, A Colossal Problem, in the coming weeks. This update brings a number of additional improvements and bug fixes to Fallout 76, so be sure to read on and catch the patch notes. So, overall highlights including Fortifying Atlas, a new community event starting today, which involves constructing the Brotherhood of Steel's new base. A Colossal Problem, the upcoming Wendigo Colossus event, which is a nuke-based event, which is very, very cool to see. And the return of Meat Week, which will be taking place from the 18th of August. So we have all the usual details on patch sizes, varying quite dramatically as per usual. Very strange, but it is what it is. So, Fortifying Atlas, the first thing that's coming. Talked about this last week. If you want to catch up on all the in-depth overview of that, I'll put the video up in the corner here so you can take a look. But starting today, you can take part in Fortifying Atlas, two-part community-wide effort to construct a prospective base for the Brotherhood of Steel. If the community successfully turns in enough supplies during the next few weeks, everyone will unlock events and new cosmetic rewards. So, community-wide effort so that everybody gets some cool stuff. A man named Russell Dorsey believes the Brotherhood of Steel are headed to Appalachia, and the Atlas Observatory in the Savage Divide will make perfect makeshift HQ when they arrive. Will be pretty good actually, smack bang in the middle. Russell is heading up the supply gathering efforts. He will ask everyone to help deliver an abundance of raw materials to aid in fortifying Atlas over the next few weeks. If the community delivers enough of each scrap in time, those numbers are big by the way, so we're going to have to go all in. Then, all players will earn in-game rewards, including new Brotherhood of Steel themed cosmetics, a purveyor sale, which will be up to 50% off, which is awesome, a double score daily event, and more besides. There's some very, very cool stuff coming with this, so hopefully everybody will dive in. That'll be really cool. Additionally, every time you contribute materials, you will receive Atlas Donors provisions, in which you can open from your inventory to receive goodies and a chance at rare plans. So just for taking part, you get some additional bits and pieces as well, irrespective of what the final result is, which is good. So even if we don't hit some of the targets, at least we're going to get cool stuff anyway, which is always good. So Fortifying Atlas will take place in two parts. Project Alpha starts August 4th, i.e. today, and Project Bravo, which starts on August 27th. So it's what, 2 weeks away? To that effect. But each of them running with a series of separate challenges within each project. So, each project has its own supply requirements, collection dates, and rewards. Read our recent article to catch up on all the details and the dates and etc, rewards, all that good stuff. So, as always, this will be linked down in the description. If you want to check out the patch notes for yourself, I would recommend doing so, as there's a few things I'm going to skip over just for time constraints. But if you want all the details, as I say, little I button in the corner will have all the details from last video, which should be cool. So, A Colossal Problem. This has got a few extra details in, which is good. There's a little bit of a delay to this, which is not so great, but there's some information here that I, for one, at least, didn't know about. So, nice to have that, which is cool. Got a bit of a better idea on how this is going to work. So, today's update brings a new public event, A Colossal Problem, to the game. However, we are still making some performance tweaks and doing additional testing before we can enable the event. We're planning to make A Colossal Problem available with a follow-up update in the next couple of weeks, so that will likely be a hotfix just to turn it on. Sounds like there's still a few bits and pieces they want to smooth out, so a few wrinkles to iron out, that sort of thing. Guess it's proving a little more challenging than they had hoped and expected, but it is what it is. Looks like they're pretty close though, otherwise they wouldn't be including it in the patch, they'd just push it back again. As they're well aware of what happens when they put incomplete stuff in, so I would imagine it's a good thing, just a few rough edges to smooth off now. Obviously, not being a games developer, I wouldn't really know the ins and outs, but nonetheless, it is what it is. The event should be here in the next couple of weeks, and judging by what they're saying here, I'm guessing it'll be a little hotfix to just enable it once they put the last couple of little polishing touches to it. So, how's it going to work? A Colossal Problem is an instanced, multiplayer public event that will take place deep in the heart of Monongah Mine in the Savage Divide. So that's a little northwest of Atlas Observatory, actually. Hopefully just far enough away that when people nuke it, they won't also catch the Brotherhood of Steel. thinking about it, I think that's probably safe, but it's going to be close. So, once we've enabled the Colossal Problem, you'll be able to meet Maggie Williams in Foundation to learn more about Monongah Mine and begin the side quest, Something Sentimental. Unfortunately, the entrance to Monongah Mine has become blocked. You will have to blast your way inside by dropping a nuke. After launching your nuke, a public event icon will appear on the map, and all players will receive a notification that a Colossal Problem has begun. If one instance of a Colossal Problem fills up, a new one will begin so more players can start the event, which basically means the number of bites at the apple, the number of versions of the event running, will basically only be limited by the number of players actually online at a given point in time. So obviously, I get the feeling it's somewhere around 6 to 8 players per instance. So if that fills up, you still turn up, still go in, but it'll start a new instance for you, which is fine. It means everybody gets a crack at it without being shut out if they arrive a minute or two too late. They get to just join a slightly later group, which is cool. It also means the event will probably be running a lot, especially early on, which is very cool. So, once inside Monongah Mine, you and your event mates will have a few minutes to prepare. Good for you to sort out those perk cards, that sort of thing, get yourself ready. This challenging encounter is tuned for characters who are level 50 or higher, and we recommend teaming up with others. So if you go in there at level 1, you're probably going to become Wendigo food. Worth bearing in mind, but yeah, it's supposed to be a high-level encounter, comparable, I would imagine, possibly slightly smaller scale, but comparable to the Scorchbeast Queen in terms of its challenging level, its difficulty level. You won't want to be doing it at level 1, basically. So, when the prep time ends, you will drop deeper into the belly of Monongah Mine and begin the battle against the towering legendary Wendigo Colossus and some of its closest friends. Didn't think Wendigos had friends. I think they tended to eat them, but, you know. We'll see how that pans out, I guess. I think they'll probably be more distracted with eating the players, so. In addition to enemy creatures, stay alert for other hazards like falling debris and a massive drill. So that's cool. There are going to be environmental challenges as well as the enemies, so it'll make for a more interesting dynamic event, which would be cool. Sort of, the thing with the Scorchbeast Queen, obviously, is that you've basically got the enemies on the ground, a few Scorchbeasts and the Queen herself, and the Radstorm created by dropping a nuke. In this case, you won't get the nuke Radstorm, at least I wouldn't think so underground, but you will get things like instability in the mine, which makes a lot of sense given you've just dropped a nuke on it. So it should be pretty cool. It's a different take, slightly different tone. Looking forward to this. I definitely want to jump in and have a good look at this. I'm well up for that. If you topple the Colossus before the event timer expires, you will be rewarded with some loot, XP, caps, treasury notes, and a chance at new themed items for your camp. Some of those are actually visible in the camp menu already and have been for a few weeks, so you guys might have spotted them already. The one that springs to mind for me being the sort of Wendigo Colossus head totem that has like 3 Wendigo Colossus heads on it, which is quite fun. And there's a couple of other bits and pieces in there as well that I thought looked like fun things to get, so getting the plans for those would be great. However, don't linger too long because Monongah Mine will surely collapse after your lengthy battle and the nuking. So find a way out of the mine in time and you will escape with your life. If you don't get out in time, presumably the roof will land on you. So something to bear in mind once you've defeated the Colossus, which is very, very cool. Lots of different aspects to this event compared to other ones, so it should be a fun, different vibe, which, yeah, I think we'll be up for. A change in the tone of an event and the way they work. Something a bit more new and a bit fun should be cool. But, moving on from new and fun things, we're going to old and fun things. Meat Week returns. Meat Week's seasonal event is returning to Appalachia this month, running from the 18th to the 24th of August. If you haven't taken part in the past, Meat Week offers great opportunities to earn some legendary script, claim some loot, join the community along with Graham, everyone's favourite super mutant, for a delicious meat cook. Meat Week happens in 2 parts, and you can read below to learn the basics. So, basically, it's going to be going the same way it has in the past. Primal Cuts will be running every 15 minutes at a location in the forest and in the Savage Divide and in the Mire, and possibly one in Cranberry Bog as well. It sounds like it, but you can join the events in different regions to take down prime beasts and gather some prime meat, which you can then take over to the second part for rewards. Each one does usually contain a legendary enemy as well, so you can grab easy legendaries every 15 minutes that way as well. So this will also be good from the point of view of completing your daily score challenges, because there's often kill a legendary enemy in there, so this will mean a nice easy opportunity to hop over, do one of these events and get a legendary out of it that way, so that's cool as well. Each area features a different difficulty, so low, mid and high level characters can all participate. Wonderful! Kill the waves of prime beasts before the Primal Cuts timer expires and you'll receive a few cuts of prime meat as rewards, along with all the other stuff I've just mentioned. Be sure to turn in your prime meat during Graham's Meat Cook events to claim some legendary scrip. So, slightly extra rewards for you if you do happen to do this. But you don't have to if you don't want to. You can jump straight onto Grum's Meat Cook. Celebrate Meat Week. Grum is hosting a meat cook for all its favourite humans every hour on the hour near Vault 76 in the forest, just a little to the southwest, the same location it was last time. You have to help Grum with a variety of activities, like putting out fires, playing music, turning meat spits, cleaning up after Charlie, and more to ensure his party is a hit. One of the best options being grabbing veg, because that tends to rack up that progress bar a little faster. Speaking of, the more successful the meat cook, the higher your chances at better rewards from the event. And they've added a couple of new rewards, which is very, very cool, like plans to craft your own tenderizer, which is a ridiculous, effectively a super sledge, but it's just stupidly huge and awesome. Now we'll have the plans so you can craft your own, which is really, really cool, as well as getting it as a drop, which was the case in the past, so that's good. There's also a new outfit, which some of you may have seen online, data mined and that sort of thing. I know I have. It's interesting, shall we say. I think it'll appeal to a lot of people's sense of humour. It's very in keeping with Bethesda's, but it's also kind of yikes. So, interesting new outfit, that one. And, of course, more besides. So, all in all, some cool stuff coming over the next couple of weeks or so. We'll see the Fortifying Atlas project are starting straight away. A little bit of a delay to a colossal problem event, rather, and Grum's Meat Cook coming in a couple of weeks. So, a couple of design updates and updates to quests that Bethesda have promised, and here they are. The ammo converter, obviously we know that didn't go off quite as planned. It wasn't received quite as well as hoped when it first dropped in the Legendary run. But, as they said a couple of weeks ago, they are going to be updating that. That's coming today. So, following community feedback, we've made several improvements to the ammo converter, including options to sell 10 and 100 times the normal amounts of ammo so that you can exchange larger stacks more quickly. Wonderful, make it way more efficient. Speaking of efficiency, buying and selling has now been incorporated directly into the terminal page for each ammo type, which means fewer screens to click through when exchanging your ammo, so less clicking, less jumping around, less problems. Wonderful. They've also upped the maximum amount of ammo points you can store from 2,000 to 100,000, so you don't have to jump backward and forward so much and faff around between turning stuff in and getting stuff out. You can do it much less often, which is wonderful. So, Legendary Loot. Changes to the Legendary Loot drops, specifically daily quest and events, have had their Legendary Loot rewards updated to include additional items like the Fixer, Secret Service armor, and others, so long as you've learned the plans for them. So, as it is, when you want legendary versions of those, you have to go to the purveyor, and you're required to know how to craft them before they'll drop. Now they've been added to daily quests and events as well as possible drops, but again, if you picked up the ability to craft them first. If not, you have to go and do the associated quests first. That's cool. There's a few more opportunities to get these things as legendary items, which is always welcome. So, a couple of changes to quests and events. An Ounce of Prevention has been simplified. It's one of the earlier quests in the Scorched Plague questline. So, collect blood samples, which is required to get yourself inoculated against the Scorched Plague. You now only have to collect one blood sample from a feral ghoul. Apparently, this caused some confusion for new players and had a bug that could sometimes block progression. So the change should hopefully make it a smoother experience. That's fine. I'm not exactly sure how the difference between 1 and 3 can really be that confusing, but okay. That seems strange. However, fixing any bugs with it is definitely welcome, so hopefully that will smooth the rails a little bit there. Fingers crossed. And Signal Strength, which is a little bit further on in the same questline, at the National Isolated Radio Array. We have removed a wave of difficult robot enemies that spawn and reduced the overall difficulty of enemies in the area. So that location it crops up earlier in the questline than your levels might really be geared to support. Certainly if you're a new player, those who've obviously experienced more of the game will be better prepared for it. But yeah, particularly once you've updated installed the transmitter, I think it is, into the radio array, you do get attacked by some pretty tough robots. Compared to other things that are occurring in the quest at that level, it is significantly more challenging, so they're bringing it back into balance. On the whole, I see why, and I get it. Making the area less challenging is not really a great thing from my perspective, and making the game easier is not something I'm in favour of. In this case, I kind of see where they're going with it, but the feelings are a little mixed there. Because, I've said plenty of times before now that I think the game needs a bit more challenge adding back into it, not making it easier. So, bug fixes, as per, quite a sizable list. And I have some mixed feelings on some of these. If you want to go through these, there are very, very cool bug fixes, very, very interesting ones. It's quite a wide range of them. But I would recommend taking the time to have a look yourself. As usual, I'll link the post down in the description if you want to check out the patch notes. But I'm going to go and have a look over a good chunk of them now that are particularly significant, ones that caught my eye, that sort of thing. So, having a look at some of the ones that have caught my eye. Bug fixes, the general ones. Please note that today's update we've found that the Forager ally is not currently providing daily quests to players who have this ally in their camps. We did not have enough time to address this prior to releasing the patch, but we are working to address this issue as soon as possible. So that might come along with a colossal problem if they get it fixed in time in that little hotfix, or it might be in the next patch, but we'll have to see. So they do know about that one. On the other hand, it must be a recent development, this, because I had that ally a few weeks ago and I didn't have any issues with it. So, I don't know, maybe it's intermittent or maybe it's a recent development, but for those who are encountering problems with that, the fixes are coming. However, art and animation, there are several fixes here, covering a few different things, some of which we've mentioned on stream, which are the Screaming Eagle handmade skin is getting a couple of fixes, the Appalachian Thunderpipe, which is one of the later Legendary Run rewards, that has also had a number of issues with its appearance, so that's getting fixed as well. There are fixes to the appearance of backpacks. Apparently some of them have a habit of clipping into players' backs, so that should be fixed as well, and a couple of other bits and pieces besides. So, camp and workshops. This is a very mixed bag. There are a number of fixes here that I am very, very unhappy to see being made. I think they are massive mistakes, actually. In fact, significant steps in the wrong direction. They actually hurt people's ability to be creative, not help. So, we'll get to those, but yeah, not overly impressed here, Bethesda. So, ammo converter now correctly disappears when destroyed in a workshop or camp until rebuilt. Fine. Backwards bungalow. You can no longer walk through the glass walls. That makes a lot of sense. Fine with that. Build. When attempting to build a freestanding object, it will no longer flicker rapidly between two snap locations. So that's interactions between snap points and objects that shouldn't have to snap. So hopefully that's one little issue that has been fixed. I've not seen it myself, so it's presumably not a massive thing, but cool to have it fixed nonetheless. And building preview for the framed Captain Cosmos game board now correctly faces the player when they're attempting to place it, so you can see what it's actually going to look like when you're placing it before you do, which is cool. Give you a better idea of what you're doing. The chicken coop. Sound effects no longer continue to play after the chicken coop is destroyed. Cool, makes sense. The Fascinating Collectron now correctly disappears after scrapping or storing its station. Presumably the robot was hanging around. Now it shouldn't do that. A couple of exploits that have been fixed, including allowing players to stack multiple traps one on top of the other. That one they did say was coming and did need doing because, yeah, it's causing issues, apparently. So that has been fixed. And an exploit related to scrapping a Soltron helmet, which I'm guessing is a duplication thing, that has also been fixed, which is always good. The Fireplace Secret Door, which is one of the last, I think it's rank 99 actually, on the Legendary Run. That no longer leaves behind visual effects when destroyed. Shouldn't be a very common issue anyway, but as and when it does happen, you won't have presumably the fire effect hanging around after the door is gone. Foundations. Now this is the first thing that I am not particularly pleased to see. Fixed an issue where foundation pieces could be built in invalid circumstances. So this is most likely something that's been changed to facilitate people blueprinting and moving camps more easily. That's the wrong direction to be going. Blueprinting needs to be taken out of the game. It's got to go. It is the single biggest problem in the camp building system as it currently stands. It prevents you from being creative in a huge number of ways because it restricts what you can do. There's a number of things that you just can't do, things you can't place, options that we would have available if it weren't for the fact that it makes it impossible to then blueprint and move your camp. On the other hand, people who build their camps on a regular basis and move their camps on a regular basis, basically people who are into camp building, don't use the blueprint system that way. The only people who are using it regularly are people who don't like camp building, and these people can throw a 2x2 together in 30 seconds flat if they want to, and don't have to worry about it anyway. So they're pandering to the wrong people here, in my opinion. I think it is stupid. That is a big mistake. In short, it restricts what we can do, and I dislike that intensely. They should be going the other direction, freeing it up and giving us more options to build, not less, because they're literally handcuffing people who are into building, so I very much disapprove of that. Lights. Objects with lights now correctly light up immediately after being repaired. Great, that's a good thing. The Rustic Watermill. Generator version of the Rustic Watermill now correctly requires the player to know a medium generator recipe before it can be built. So even if you've got the item from the atomic shop, you have to learn the medium generator plan before you can build it. Mixed feelings there. It means it's one less generator option you can place on a new character, so not generally a big fan of that. But it's also not that difficult to get the plans anyway. You just pop over to like Poseidon Energy, any of the power plants, run those a couple of times and you'll have all the plans, so not particularly a big deal. So this is a good change. Scrapping fixed an issue that caused crafting to use junk items from the player's inventory and stash before using their available scrap. Crafting, building and repairing now utilize the player's scrap and junk in the following order of priority. Scrap in the player's inventory is used first, then scrap in the stash, then scrap in the Fallout First scrap box. Then it will just break down junk in the player's inventory, auto scrapping it. Last of all, it will auto scrap junk in the stash box. Right, okay, got that sentence in the right order now. So, all in all, it should basically prioritise things in the order you want, so giving you a little bit more leeway if you want to hang on to certain items for putting in display cases, stuff like that as well, which is good. So, walls. Fix an issue where the doorway walls could be hard to place under roofs and upper floors. Great, this is good. This is making it easier to place things. This is what we want. Definitely in favour of that. Fix an issue where slanted walls could not be snapped onto roofs. We ran into this one last week before. Either way, in a very recent build, a slanted lower part of the roof, it was sort of square with a slanted angle on it, wouldn't snap under the roof, and it was what I wanted to put there, so I was quite annoyed about that. Clearly that was a bug, not just me not understanding how to use it, which is kind of a relief. Good to see that one in there, and good to see that repaired. And once again, we have an issue that is, once again, another example of Bethesda limiting what players can do in terms of getting creative with their builds. So, once again, they've taken a good run up and given us a hoof with a steel toe cap to boot. And that is that they have fixed an issue that could allow walls to be snapped to overhanging roofs and upper floors, which could be used to create floating walls. Thanks for nothing. So that is an entire creative tool taken away because it means you can't blueprint and move your camp when you've done that. But everybody who is doing this doesn't give a rat about blueprinting the camp and moving it. We don't care. We want to build something new when we move. Take the blueprint system out and give us more ability to build. As for those who don't want to build, so what? They're not building anything particularly time-consuming anyway. It doesn't matter. Take the blueprint system out and let us have the ability to build what we should be able to build in the first place. This is a major issue with the building system. It always has been. It needs to go. Things that pander to that, they hurt the building system. They hurt the building community. It's a bad decision. I'm sorry. That is how I feel about it. Anybody's welcome to disagree if they like, but I don't really care if you do, to be honest. So, challenges. Good fixes here. General implemented an additional fix to address remaining edge cases where daily challenges and weekly challenges could complete themselves automatically. So, a couple of weeks ago, they had a good go at fixing auto-completing challenges, particularly pertaining to the Legendary Run. A lot of people have been asking for that because they were losing out on score. And for the most part, they got to it. But the last couple of weeks, they've continued working on that and coming with patch 21, fixes to hopefully the last few remaining cases. So, you should no longer have challenges auto-completing and not awarding score, which is wonderful. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about that. Another good reason I'm hoping for another double score weekend. We already know there's one coming at the end of the Legendary Run, the last week or so. But if we can get through the Fortifying Atlas challenges, we'll also get an additional one added this month as well, which will be very, very cool. So, at Nuclear Winter, they fixed an issue in which previous limited time nuclear winter challenges were available and could still be completed past the end dates. And I've seen some stuff on YouTube and on Reddit as well, suggesting people jump in and grab these rewards that are still hanging around when they shouldn't be while they can. That should be no longer possible as of today. So, mixed feelings, I'm sure, for a lot of people on that, but it is the way it's supposed to be. And yeah, you got lucky if you got to do things after that. So, fair enough to fix that one. So, a couple of exploits fixed for combat. There's nothing particularly earth-shattering there. A couple of faster fire rates, things like that, but they'll no longer be available. So, enemies. Wendigo Colossus. Opening the Pip-Boy just before being feared by the Wendigo Colossus no longer causes the controls to temporarily lock up. That's a bonus. Items. Fixed an issue that could prevent players from scrapping newly crafted backpacks. We ran into this one just yesterday, actually, which was faintly annoying. But it should mean that you can now scrap backpacks, not just be forced to destroy them, so that's cool. Bows. The Blood Eagle bowskin can now be applied to compound bows. The Chinese stealth suit. The helmet for it no longer incorrectly states it protects against waterborne diseases. That's a pity. It probably should, looking at the things, so I don't know why that would be incorrect, but okay. I would like to see that going the other way again. Another change in the wrong direction, in my opinion. Energy weapons. Address an issue that can prevent energy weapons like the Tesla rifle and flamer from damaging enemies under certain circumstances. Doesn't really specify what those might be, but hopefully those will be functioning better for those people who do use them, which is cool. The Captain Cosmos Jetpack now correctly appears in the list of mods for T65 power armor. So apparently you couldn't equip it previously, and now you can. Power armor. The T65 power armor headlamp no longer shines in the wrong direction after switching between first and third person view. Okay, that's good. Yeah, we definitely want it pointing forward, please. So, nice little fix. Secret Service armor. Added plans to craft deep-pocketed and pocketed mods for the Secret Service armor limbs. They can now be purchased for 250 and 500 bullion, respectively. Other way around to the way I said it. See notes. From regs in Vault 79. So you now got pocketed mods for your limbs as well, which is cool if you're wearing the Secret Service armor. Speaking of the Secret Service armor, Ghillie Skin no longer obstructs players' view in first-person mode, which is good. So yeah, those Ghillie Skins have had a few issues. Hopefully some of the others will be fixed as well, but we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Mods. Fixed an issue where the bow, assault rifle, Brotherhood recon rifle did not have the default appearance equipped on pickup. Brotherhood recon rifle. I'm not sure what that actually is. But yeah, when you pick these things up off the ground, they shouldn't be skinned, in short. And skins were, if not auto-applying, they were appearing to be applied in the crafting menu. So now it should be showing up correctly. Vaultic supply packages. I don't know what the weight of them was prior to the patch, but now they've been brought to 0.1 pounds is what they should be weighing. So that's stacks of crafting materials that you get via the legendary run. So good to have the weight reduced on those. It means if you do pick them up but aren't ready to convert them into usable junk yet, you don't have to lug around so much weight, which is a nice little quality of life improvement there, I think. So mutations, herbivore and carnivore. Fixed a number of food benefits that were not being doubled correctly by herbivore and carnivore mutations. Cool, so they should work a bit more as intended. A couple of fixes to NPCs. Fixed a rare case where NPCs could pick up items a player had dropped in a loot bag. So, yep, that's good. It means when you're trying to either just get rid of stuff or give it to somebody else via the loot bag, you won't have NPCs pinching your stuff. Always welcome. Fixed a pathing issue affecting multiple NPCs in Foundation. Always good. Smiley now resets correctly every Monday, allowing players to purchase bullion from him every week. So that's the guy in the Wayward. He's upstairs in the Wayward. You have to have completed the quest line there and completed the whole Wastelands quest line as well. But you can purchase bullion from him to top up the amount you can earn. If you're inside the Wayward when Smiley resets, then you have to exit and re-enter in order to trigger the update, but otherwise it's fine. And Ward. Good old Ward. We've instructed Ward to stay put in his trailer, so you should no longer spot him roaming Foundation. The million-dollar question is, has he figured out how to use a chair yet? So, several fixes to performance and stability, as per usual, that we're always welcome to see. Always happy to see, rather. Fix an issue that could cause client performance issues when attempting to stack many camp objects into a small space. So, for those of you who like to build densely decorated camps, hello, then you shouldn't have quite so many performance issues. It shouldn't drag your frame down quite so much, hopefully, which is nice. Definitely welcome. And a client stability fix attempting to replace a fence in a modify mode no longer sometimes causes the game client to crash. So this is a problem I have encountered. I was trying to get a gate onto my current camp for my archer, actually, and couldn't get the regular one to snap, so I snapped a white picket fence gate on and then tried to swap it across, which should have worked. Unfortunately, it just caused the game to crash every time. So hopefully that should be working now. Fingers crossed. So a couple of perk fixes. Adrenaline. This was asked about on stream yesterday as well. I think it was on stream, possibly in the comments. Either way. Now applies its damage bonus correctly after enemy kills. So Adrenaline perk should be working properly. Robotics expert. No longer prevents players from trading with vendor bots. Oops. But that's good. Definitely a much needed fix there. Quests and events. Ally crash landing. So this is Commander Sophia's quest line. Logging out and back in after retrieving flight recorded data even no longer prevents the quest from progressing. So that's a very important good fix because it's potentially quest breaking. So good to see that fixed. Vital equipment. This is the daily one from Foundation from Ward. Fix an issue that could prevent vital equipment from progressing if the player killed the raider thief before talking to Ward. So, not sure what you're doing if you've managed to do that, but, yeah. Good to know. That means you can't accidentally bug out your daily quest. And there's several others besides that were less interesting, but if you're interested in them, as per usual, link in the description to the patch notes. User interface. Localization has been fixed for the legendary run. The game board's rule sheet now correctly translates into non-English versions of the game. On main menu on PC, this is one I'm very, very happy to see. Pressing tab after opening the main menu from the map, i.e. if you press Z to bring up the menu on the left, you can now press tab and it will return you to the map view, whereas before you had to go all the way back to the game via pressing escape usually, and then open up the map again in order to interact with it. It was a little bugbear of mine, that one, so a good fix there. Very pleased to see that one. Notifications. The notification that appears when completing the repeatable gain XP 0 to 10,000 weekly challenge now correctly states the name of the challenge, so it's just a visual UI thing, but good to have nonetheless. Should actually tell you the right thing is being completed rather than something else. Pip-Boy, the Collections tab should now correctly display the amount of caps, gold bullion, tadpole badges, etc., basically all your currency, in the Collections tab when you first log into a world. Presumably it was taking a little while to show you the correct numbers. Now it should do it straight away. Wonderful. Teams. Address an issue causing teams to be automatically disbanded after a nuclear winter match. Great for you guys who like playing nuclear winter together. The Legendary Run. You can now select rank 100 on the game board and display preview images for all of the rewards rather than just the one of them. So there's about 5 or 6 of them, so you couldn't review them without going online and checking websites and stuff like that. As it was, now you can just look at it actually in-game and it will show you what the rewards are, which is cool. And there are a few more UI fixes as well that were not particularly interesting. And in terms of world fixes, there are a few pathing and world surface issues that have been fixed as well in quite a few different locations. They didn't go into a great amount of detail, but there's a few things there, as I say, in the patch notes if you wish to take a look. So, there we go. As usual, quite a chunky set of patch notes. Went through a few more bug fixes this time than I would usually. Apologies somewhat for my slightly impassioned irritation at the changes they've made to the camp building system. Personally, I feel rather strongly that the blueprinting system needs to go in the bin, and is a serious mistake, really. It's been since day one, in my opinion. It's got to go. It's handicapping a significant proportion of the community, and removing it won't in any significant way hurt the proportion of the community that actually do use it. So, get it gone. Don't restrict our creativity, I think is the request there, and it really, really pisses me off to see that. So, I think that's a catastrophic mistake in terms of a bug fix. I wouldn't call it a bug fix, I'd call it a bug introduction, personally. A bad decision. There we go. That's how I feel about it. But aside from that slightly down note, new events look very, very cool. Very much looking forward to Fortifying Atlas, jumping into that. At the very least, I've got a lot of crap to get rid of in my stash box, so that'll be nice to clear some of that out. Also, be a little less over-encumbered will be wonderful as well. Petty about the slight delay to a Colossal Problem. Looking forward to trying that out, but that's coming in the next couple of weeks. It's being introduced with the patch, so it's a smaller delay than it might otherwise have been, so that's cool. Minimising the impact, but making sure we have it soon. Making sure it's as good as it can be when they launch it, which is what we want to see. That's a good move. And yeah, Meat Week's always fun, so be glad to have that back. Nice, easy thing to do once an hour. Grab yourself some legendary items, hopefully some cool plans and unique items as well. So, a little more fun with Graham and his weird observations is always good for a good time to be had. So, I will wrap this one up as I've been rambling for quite long enough now. So, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, found this useful and informative. If you did, please do hit those buttons for me, so it's very much appreciated. Social media links, merch store, and channel memberships all available via the description. If you're interested in such things, please do check them out. Support is hugely appreciated. And if you haven't had the chance to do it already, then do drop in on one of the live streams as well. We're having a lot of fun. We're playing our way through the Legendary Run, doing a few other bits and pieces as well in Fallout 76. And on Friday night, we start Horizon Zero Dawn, which should be fun as well. Been looking forward to playing this game properly for, well, since it first came out. So it should be a good time to be had. I do hope you'll drop in and hang out for that one. So look forward to seeing you then. For now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.